I didn't come on your podcast and cry about my status.
Yes.
That I dealt with in my personal space.
Yes.
What I was simply showing everyone is that it does not matter how you did it or what walk of life you come from. At the end of the day, you can live beyond this.
Yes.
Like
let's go ahead and shoot. All right, it's fine. This podcast is it's a follow up from the one that we did about you revealing your status, how you got it, and those who want to. It will be important for those who haven't watched it to go and watch it again. So there's a asterisk. I don't know what is it. On your phone, or if you're on the laptop, it's easy. You could just find it on the dot there. You just put that information link, it will drop. Then you'll see or you'll see it at the end of this this podcast. Or you could just pause, go directly on our stuff, and then you'll watch it from there. But so one thing I haven't asked before we start. So we're not gonna do icebreakers. So if you want to do her icebreakers, go to the previous one. So you'll see her icebreakers. So for now, what we want to check is, why the name Spirit? Noinwa Smirnov.
No.
By the way, so we've got people from Namibia who are blaming us that we're speaking a lot of your language.
Vernac.
Yeah. So can you just please keep it English? I'm not gonna say clean. You if you feel it dead, you can go
Guys,
dead.
I won't swear, I promise.
Yeah, but keep it in English. So why the name Spirit, and where does it come from?
Okay, so there was a friend of mine, a late friend of mine, who ish. So the one day I used to play around with hair color, right?
Okay.
So like one day I'd come back from the salon, my hair's orange, the next day it's like green, you know? So I happened to dye my hair purple. And upon our interactions, he walked up to me and he's like, Spirit, you know? It was a joke, but somehow it's
Spirit from methylated spirit.
Yeah, as in like my hair color was exactly like methylated spirit.
Is it purple?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
purple.
all right.
So yeah, we laughed at that. Little did I know the name would stick.
Yes.
And then prior to joining the movement that I'm in, which is Peliritis, I don't know, like the name stuck. Like every time you'd ask about Tsulu, they're like, which Tsulu? Tsulu Spirit. So I was like, you know what? Let's go with it. And then I think after we lost him, it was like, I'm living through you, fam, because we were similar vibes, you know.
Oh, okay.
He was a very happy soul, so yeah, that's
So-
where the name comes from.
You are a Peli kid at Atteridgeville,
Yes,
but you studied in boarding school outside
Yes.
in Bilabela, and interesting, you went to a agricultural school.
yeah.
Yes, tell us about the agricultural school and why are you not doing farming?
Okay, so initially when I started going to boarding school, like I said in the previous podcast, it was because my mom was traveling a lot.
Oh,
When
yes.
I went to the primary school, I didn't know it was an agricultural school. So obviously in primary, agriculture wasn't offered as a subject, but we knew we had a farm and all of this that we had access to, right? Then I got to high school, and then when I got to grade 10, when we needed to choose subjects, agriculture was there. But like, guys, I can't stand the smell of animals. So, nenga sloki. I mean, I don't even drink milk. So, oh, too sorry. Ish. Yo, yeah, it would have been, we would have never matched.
Okay, but you had an opportunity to be a farmer
Yeah.
and go into animal husbandry and
Yeah.
a veterinarian. So you were exposed to that.
Yeah, I was exposed to that, but I think it's like with maths and science and all of that, like there are people who thrive in science. Now I'm a commerce kid. Like I could do accounting in my sleep.
Yes.
I literally used to sleep in class.
Yeah.
But neke pasapile. So for me, that was my forte,
Yeah.
as opposed to agriculture and
Yeah.
all of that.
Okay, it's fine. So so for those who don't know, you are an HIV activist. You are a biker. You are a township philanthropist. You do things, and let's just because I think your recent
We need to correct that. I'm not a biker. I'm a bikey.
is the difference.
Yes.
So what's a biker?
Okay. So most clubs that people are familiar with are MCCs. They are actual clubs, like motorcycle clubs.
Yes.
I am part of Pelly Riders, which is a movement. So it's a group of people who are enthusiasts of this bike lifestyle.
Okay.
Meaning, it's not necessarily a requirement to have a bike immediately when you join. You can obviously get in the long run.
Yes.
So I haven't gotten one yet. So
Yeah.
I'm still a bikey.
Oh.
There are bikers who ride. There are bikers who come in their cars. And then there are bikies, like me.
All right, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. So your club and other clubs went into Hammanskraal, ne?
Yeah.
And did your things there.
Yeah.
You've been very active in that space of giving back and stuff. So I want to ask you about what happened after the podcast. But let's just start with this one, the Hammanskraal issue.
Yeah.
So what did you get there, and what did you find, and
So, okay. Initially, before the drive happened, we obviously all read about this issue, yeah, cholera in Hammanskraal and all of that. And we, firstly, as our movement, had the discussion to give back, right? And then upon planning, we realized that bikers as a whole were actually planning the same initiative. So I think it didn't make sense for us to go out on our own and try and fly our flag only. So we then obviously joined forces with all the other bikers. We had radio interviews build up to that, and on the 3rd of June, the Saturday, we actually all went to deliver water that was obviously then donated from our pockets, from donors, from, you know, we got a lot of support. And we went and delivered the water. So we went to 3 drop-off points. Initially, we went to, I just can't remember the names of all of them, but I know we went to an orphanage first. Then we went to a secondary school.
where in Hammanskraal is this?
It's closer to Temba. That's like the names of these places
okay,
and
it's
things,
fine.
like they slip my mind. But it's not far from Temba. I think we linked up at like Jubilee side, and then we went and did all of these drop-offs. So there were trucks, there were vans packed with water. It was insane. And the nice thing is you saw unity amongst bikers, because there was a chain, 2 lanes, and everyone was just passing water to the next person, and that was just going down the line to get dropped off. There was so many bikers, and I think we realized how much we can do when we come together. So yeah, it was a great initiative. Although obviously it doesn't fix the problem completely, but
That's what I want to
Yeah.
talk about. So, what is the problem with the water? Besides the projects, I know the project delays and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's an outbreak of cholera in Free State Province. A few people have died there, and then Hammanskraal cholera outbreak, and they're saying even in the Val there's E. coli spotted there. So I want to understand, in Hammanskraal, what is the problem? Because I'm hearing different issues from different people. What is the problem? The one that you picked up on the ground.
okay, so what we got is, and obviously we don't want to be political about this, but what we saw was that, so from your running tap water, right? Whether it's water you're bathing with, water you need to drink, it's discolored, right? Part of the reason why we did the drive is we realized, as much as you may be encouraged to boil water and do all of this, at the end of the day, you still need water to drink. And consider someone who's going to school, a primary school child. Yes, they can boil that water and drink it at home, but what do they do during break when they're thirsty? A child is a child. They're going to go ahead and open that tap and drink that water, and then you have more cases and all of that. So I think for us it was important to, even if we were to provide just 1 bottled water per day for a child, that's something else. As adults, we can sort of maneuver around the issue, but for kids, it's something else.
Okay. I'm told it's because people came with their trucks, and the trucks, the water tankers, that is. So the trucks was picking up from places where it's not safe, and they did not care. They would take water from Bonaccord. You know where Bonaccord is?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
take water from Bonaccord. They would take even water that is not right. People have personally spoke to me because I did a podcast about the Hammanskraal water with another water counselor. People came to me and said, no, those people are not being honest with you.
Yeah.
It's the water tankers that deliver water in Hammanskraal that take water from dodgy sources. And I was like how? So I don't know how it works, because I thought because you were on the ground, maybe the residents will tell you like how dirty is the water, because if the water from the tap is not safe, what makes them think the one that comes from the
From the
water
tankers.
tankers is safe? Maybe they would have told us. I thought maybe the interaction, but if you don't know, let's leave it at that.
Look, we obviously had certain interactions, and it's just that that's why I said I didn't want to be political about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're aware that there were certain water tankers that brought water that wasn't safe either. We are aware that water was being sold, right?
Like how sold is in?
So in order for residents to get access to that water, there was a price, which was in the news as well.
The water
anyway.
tanker.
Yeah.
Oh, so if the water tanker comes by your street, it means people are paying around that.
So there were people who were requiring residents to pay, and that came out on the news as well. And I assume they combated that somehow. But the thing is, what we're saying is, if the water from the tap is not safe, how are we testing the water from the water tankers? Because yes, you can provide us with water from somewhere else, but what is the process to test that water before you provide it to people? And that's what we're not getting clarity on. Because you can tell me Hammanskraal water is not safe to drink, but if I'm bringing water from Bilabila, for argument's sake, that happens to have the same issue, when is it tested? Between leaving where you're sourcing it from to it arriving to residents, when is it being tested? How is it being tested?
So someone told me it's a revolving money machine. You fix the water in Hammanskraal, you get billions. There's a lot of accusations. Let me put Edwin Sodi's accusations here. And then if you don't, again, but the problem must not go away, because if it goes away, it stops the cash flow. So if you buy tankers, you let the tankers supply water, you make money as well.
Yeah.
But look, I don't want this podcast to be about that. It just worries me about this issue about Hammanskraal, because people now are, they're dying in droves now, and it's becoming very very dodgy. But let's leave it. Let's talk about you. How many people since the podcast have come to you and said, "Yo, Tolu,
Yo.
thanks for coming"?
So, yeah, like a lot of people gave me feedback. Obviously, there's a lot of people who did give me the feedback directly.
Yes.
But I got a lot of feedback, which predominantly was great.
Yes.
We had people who also were trying to figure out, like, are you trying to seek attention? What's happening? You know? because we deal with things differently as
Yes,
people, right?
yes.
One would feel, would never be that vocal about something. So, yeah, I got mixed reactions, but I think, let's say 90% of it was pretty good.
Okay.
It was pretty good. I think most people were in disbelief that I actually went out and had this conversation on such a large platform, but yeah, it was good.
So tell me, so you you spoke to people and you got their feedback. So I had people who told me, but Tolu, yes, we expect it, and say, well, yeah, she used to go to sex parties, and she used to go out, she used to be mutuastrata, she used to be, and I was like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm asking myself, so it's like, if Zoro Wabantu, ne?
Yeah.
And the other people who are doing sex things on
Yeah.
it. So if they reveal their status, would it be a sympathy kind of vibes, or people would say, yeah, no, she had it coming. What she was doing, she was asking for it. I'm asking at the backdrop of after having done the interview,
Yeah.
and people starting to say, no, but with her life,
Like,
you
what
could
was she
hear herself.
expecting?
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
she expecting?
Yeah.
So I'm asking that because it moves away, and I said it in the podcast. It moves away from, because your story was a brave story. It moves away from people wanting to take responsibility for things that they have done.
Yeah.
It's as if they want the typical story as my husband gave it to me,
And I must be sitting here
yes,
crying.
and I was a virgin. My husband gave it to me,
Yeah.
or I was raped down the passage coming from school.
Yeah.
I'm actually a good girl. So they was expecting that story.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say? Because at some point I felt as if they're saying, you shouldn't speak out, ne? Especially because you are embarrassing people
Yeah.
who living with HIV/AIDS. What?
I don't think so. What the narrative that they are now giving is as simple as saying someone got raped because they were wearing a miniskirt.
Oh,
Do you understand? It's the
Yes.
same thing in a
Yes.
nutshell, because what I'm wearing does not give you permission to me to any extent,
Yes.
right? So with me, I felt, yes, one, I didn't come on your podcast and cry about my status.
yes,
That I dealt with in my personal space.
yes,
What I was simply showing everyone is that it does not matter how you get it or what walk of life you come from. At the end of the day, you can live beyond this.
Yes.
Like, there's literally no reason to be ashamed, because no one is going to wake up and knock on a door and say, like, may I please have some HIV? Nobody does that.
yes.
So how I got it, it's not even a factor. All I was simply trying to show is that you can live beyond this. It doesn't have to define you.
Yes. And the podcast was about living.
Exactly.
Yes, not dying.
Exactly.
And the dark energy you got from it was like, so people are expecting how? Well, I mean, like, I do not understand. Is it still a taboo for our townships to accept that a woman can have a free life? I mean, it's so I don't know, were they expecting the life that you live to be a boy, and then now they're gonna say, yeah, because I'm going to ask you about the biker's life
Yeah.
afterwards.
Oh,
yes,
goodness, yes.
because it's as if they want you to be a Mother Teresa. So all people who, because I mean, you owned your story.
Yeah.
You owned your story, and you were saying, guys, not everyone, don't play next to a fire, you'll get burned.
Yeah.
And you are owning it, and people want you to be like, no, I was moving away, the fire came to me.
Come
You
on.
see?
Come
And so the
on.
people who were brave enough to come to you, what were they saying generally?
So, okay, there were people who spoke to me in confidence who were going through the same thing but weren't necessarily vocal.
Yes.
Those
are
I
the important
obviously
ones.
offered them support, and I, obviously in confidentiality, you know. There were people who, I think most people in my life already knew about my status, right? It's
Yes.
something that I said I've had open conversations about anyway.
Yes.
Family was proud because they already knew. I had already had this open conversation with them. There were friends who didn't necessarily understand why you must speak about this on such a huge platform, you
Yeah.
know? And for me, look, with everything in terms of feedback that I got, it was an eye opener, because it made me realize that no matter how I think that people are ready to have the conversation, we still have people who aren't ready to talk about these things, you know?
Let's stop it there, then we will come back. We shoot the Politically Incorrect podcast from the Digital Photography Studios. They are based in Pretoria. If you need any information, kindly contact them on the provided information. Thank you. I'm sorry, but let me do this. We'll get back to the other topic. So we were talking about how you you were able to reach out to the people that mattered.
Yeah.
And the people who mattered are the people who lived with the virus, because they are the ones who you needed to encourage.
Yeah.
Because you're an activist for them, while you are warning others not to. But as a consequence, unfortunately, what then happens is you get to bump into haters
Of course.
who hate what you do.
Of course.
And like I said, with the Thabiso story,
Yeah.
you are affected by this because you are speaking about people's lives.
Yeah.
So it's an example is, if I have dated Tulu 5 years before she came out,
Yeah.
and you go out and speak about people as an activist, people will always think, "Lema shiane sala jola letsolo," because I've dated
Of
you
course.
before, and I become negative when every time you speak, because, and the people that are with me, every
Yeah.
time you speak, they get offended because you might be linking me.
Yeah, it's like, you're a statistic.
Yeah.
You know?
So tell me, so part of this problem that you were battling with, are they part of it? Do you think the hate that you got is part of this?
So, fortunately for me, I haven't come across that.
Okay, thanks.
Where somebody felt like they fell into the stats, my
Okay.
stats, somehow. I think I mentioned it even in the previous podcast. After I found out my status, I looked after myself, obviously, but I think even in terms of dating, like I wasn't a serial dater, or so the people that I did get with, I had the honest conversation with. The one thing I like about the feedback that I got, it's not only people who are infected that reached out to me. There are people who will say, "Hey, dude, like my brother has been positive and we don't know how to tackle this at home. Like we don't understand it, you know?"
Yeah.
And it's talking to people like that, because as much as you might not be infected, you are affected. There's someone in your circle that you know, and they might not necessarily have told you, but there's someone there who's
Yes.
infected, like 1 out of 10. There's someone there. So you're either infected or affected, you know? And these are the people that I got to reach out to, and they reached out to me.
Yes. Just pardon me. Please tell us about the inherent problems that you, as an activist and Thabiso, would face, the aggressive defenses that Thabiso has to put up with, because he's very active. He goes on live frequently, and I heard him defending. There was this person who was saying to him, "Hey Thabiso, every day you are telling
Yeah,
about
I
the
saw
pill."
that comment.
Yes, you're talking about the pill, and he had to, like, as always, he's very aggressive. Then he goes back and say, "If you don't like this,
Don't follow me.
don't follow me, because
Yeah.
I'm here to I'm preaching this. I know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And I think he knows what he's doing.
He does.
So yeah, so they say he must talk about other things and stuff, but they forget that he lives this every day. And you are quite I don't want to say different, but because you live a positive life, you
Yeah.
live and you mingle normally with people and stuff. Please tell me about the dangers that you and him go through. While you explain, I just want to refill mine. Don't mind me.
Knock
You
yourself out.
yes, please continue.
So the thing is,
Yes.
what
Pardon me.
what is a common thread, like between Thabiso and I per se? For me, I chose not to make it my image and not what I'm about.
Yes.
Purely because for me, I feel I was me prior to this. With Thabiso, yes, he is trying to encourage people, trying to educate people about this thing, which I totally support.
Yes.
And for me, I feel if you're going to give me backlash today, that's not going to stop me from my content, because tomorrow there's going to be somebody who's seeing my page for the first time, and this can actually help this person.
Yes.
So yes, in his words, if you don't like what I'm saying, you're more than welcome to unfollow me, you know?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, 10 people can reject your message. If it at least somehow helps one, that's all you need.
Yes. So, off camera, you and I spoke about how after the podcast
Yeah.
that we did with you and Thabiso, I realized that it's actually very easy and and I'm saying this with greatest respect because I know only adults watch my content.
Yeah.
It's not broadcast to kids.
Of course.
So here's the thing. It's actually very easy compared to number one. It's one pill a day.
Yeah.
You don't see a specialist.
No.
You don't even have to go to a private clinic.
No.
You don't need a medical aid.
No.
It is free.
Yes.
You don't see a specialist.
No.
You don't have monthly appointments with a therapist or anything.
So, obviously, in terms of therapy, but you get counseling that's offered as well.
Yes.
For free at the clinic. But I think it differs from individual to individual.
Yes.
For me, I think because I have a very strong personality and I took this like head on, I didn't need that. The only thing I go in for is my blood work like every 6 months, and then I go and collect my pills from one of the pharmacies, local pharmacies, for free, which I still don't pay for. So for me, it's manageable, guys. Like it's manageable. Yo.
Yes, and because the reason I wanted to show you that is because after seeing how easy, because it scares us, but if you live with it, you only need to switch your mind. You'd actually see that it's easy. I'm saying it in the backdrop of, I have started learning about lupus. I've started learning about mental health.
Yep.
I've started learning about sugar diabetes, both types, and I actually thought cancer. All of these things are too hectic. They are too hectic, but we fear this virus that you have.
Yeah.
But these ones we don't fear. And pardon me to say we, because I know me and other people, we don't seem to fear this one. But I thought with the greatest of responsibility shared, yours it's easier to live. The only difficulty is the stigma and opening up and living a free life.
That's true. From my personal experience, I think as much as I have my strong personality, I'm out there, the fact that I got so much support from family and friends or people close to me, for me, I felt like, hi, man, you can beat this. Like, I mean, honestly,
Yes.
you know? And you mentioned mental health. That's also another thing. It affects certain people differently.
Yes.
There are people who feel I cannot live like this and then more to contemplate suicide or things like that.
Ish.
The support structure around you is very important. And also looking away from what are people going to say. Because in terms of finding out you're HIV positive, that's the one factor that affects a lot of people. What will people say? Because remember, the idea behind it is you went out, you were promiscuous, and cling cling, here's your present, you know? People feel that's the only way you get HIV, even though they know better. But that's the assumption automatically. So if you don't have that support structure that says to you, look, despite this, you are no different to me, you know? You are still Tsolu. If you don't have that, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Thabiso speaks often, and like I said, Thabiso is very aggressive. And the reason I love Thabiso, I love Thabiso a lot. I mean, he's very open, and he doesn't flinch whenever he says things. He's very aggressive. You know, Thabiso speaks about the thing that we are afraid to talk about. I mean, he would go in attacking, what is this? These people who are rich, sugar daddies, he will attack
those ones that
people who
those
go to
clubs.
Konka. He doesn't care. But one of the things that he said, and he's very consistent about this, is he says, do you know there are people who unfortunately go into traditional healing. Thwasa becomes sangomas because deep down they don't want to admit that they are not, it's not a calling, they are just sick. he goes there. He doesn't flinch. Tabiso doesn't flinch.
With that one, I have a difference in opinion.
No problem, and I'll give you a chance. Because he says, not everyone who goes there with a spiritual calling.
True.
Yes, and this is what he says. He doesn't say, no, there are Sangomas. But he says he looks at the problems confronted by parents. Because, let me give you an example. He says, parents, stay away from those things. They are very expensive. All you just need is an HIV test. Because let me give an example. Let's say I am sick, but I'm afraid to go and take a test. I tell my parents that I'm sick, I'm not employed. You know, we spoke about on this podcast how expensive this thing is. It's about 50,000. And that 50,000 is not even covering everything. That 50,000 is like a tuition fee, the one that you pay just to enter the door. It's 50,000. 50,000. It's we just try to put it in dollars here for everyone to understand. So 50,000 is a lot of money, and this is where Tabiso comes in. He says, "What if you are not? That sickness is not. It's not Amadlusi. It's not your ancestors calling you to come in and become a Sangoma. What if you are just sick because you've got HIV? Why don't you test first, and then afterwards, and then take a decision?" That's what Tabiso is saying. And he doesn't flinch.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a chance, and because now I understand where he comes from.
Yeah.
Because he's not saying don't do it. He says don't do it under
Ferrari. Ba di tirile di Ford Mustang. After the graduates, when they start getting sick, when they start to have symptoms, my mommy, don't waste money by taking that hyena. By taking that hyena to a Sangoma. Don't waste your money. There's no ancestors, there's no witchcraft, there's no neighbor who's witching your child. Yeah, nabadalaga kukuli pipi, baba talpo now left and right.
false reasons.
True.
Yeah, but you can continue and give your opinion.
No, he's right in that. But then again, let's not take away from people who actually have a calling.
Yes.
But I mean, also with, let's say you find out today.
Yes.
Right? You are, or you start getting sick. You don't know yet that you're
Yes.
HIV positive, but you still live under your parents' roof.
Yes.
Right? One, you don't have the courage to actually go and test. First of all, because when you get to that clinic, you're going to a specific department. Everybody who knows you, who's in that clinic, is already thinking, and then this one, you know?
Yes.
Then you must come back and share whatever your results are with your parents. We know if they come back negative, you won't say anything. You're just going to
Yes.
come back happy and whatever. But should they be positive?
Yes.
Are you going to get there and sit your parents down and say, Mama, Papa, I'm HIV positive? Not everyone can do that. And that's not because you don't want to be honest with your parents, but we don't have the same parents. Let's face it, first of all. Not everyone's going to take things in the same way. Your mom could decide, or there's no HIV here. I'm taking you to Prophet Mamang, what, you know? And it's a big hoo-ha. Whereas they could be encouraging you to start with the treatment and look after yourself. So I think a lot of the times people are hesitant to go and actually test and actually start taking care of their lives because, like I said, what are people going to say? And what are people going to say does not necessarily refer to people outside of your household. It could even be family. Because you don't want to be deemed a certain way. You don't want to be looked at in a certain way. Like, it's like once, there are families where once you tell people, Shem, already they're looking for your ID number, they're signing you up there for
Yes.
funeral cover.
So in a way, Tabiso is correct.
Yeah.
Tabiso is correct because, you know, let me give you an example. So I say to a lot of foreign nationals who live in South Africa to say, it's true, not every foreign national does crime.
True.
It's true. But you as a foreign national, you also have a responsibility to call out those who don't. Because if you don't blame the victims for branding you as the same thing. I said on this podcast with someone, who's a dog breeder, who breeds pit bulls, to say, no, do you understand that if you pitbull breeders and owners and lovers do not call out irresponsible pit owners, are you aware what you are doing is you are allowing this thing to have a negative connotation? It is in the same light I'm saying to our the spiritually inclined people, Sangoma, and other people with spirits. When there are wrong things in your department or in your field, if you don't call it out, people think you are also complicit to it. You promote it. You understand where I'm going? So I'm saying, if there are wrong gobelas, if there are blah blah blah. Someone said, I did not have it. Unfortunately, we read a lot about the wrong things in this field. Some say, I did not have it. I got it from my gobela. You understand how bad that is? So, meaning, if you do not call out, nothing comes clean. Nothing is ever clean. So, if you don't talk about the dangers incurred in your area, everyone is going to assume that you are also, because if people coming, we'll talk about bikers and the bikies.
I know where you're going with
this.
Yes,
if you word it like this, people think you are promiscuous. People think every time. Okay, the people that I hang out with.
Guys, I'm going to clarify this thing once and for all with my cousin. Yo.
Yeah, please do. No, let's do this. Yo. Let's take a break. And then we'll come back just for that.
All right.
Before ka the bikers and the promiscuous lifestyle, alleged promiscuous lifestyle.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a prep, because we haven't done that. So the issue of prep, or people hate it because they say, what's the purpose of taking it if when you take it, you are taking it at the backdrop of avoiding to take another pill. So they don't understand, why do you take it to take another thing?
You must take a pill to avoid
taking a pill. Yes, that's what they say. So now I feel it's easier to take it because maybe you are still in your buffet days, and what you want to do while you are in your buffet days, you want to avoid taking it permanently, because I think prep, you take it for as long as you think you need it. But once you settle down and you no longer need it, that's according to me. Once you settle down, you no longer need to have a promiscuous life. You are settling and you have settled. Then you can let go of the pill. This is my thinking is. Do you have a different view?
Yeah, my view is very different, because what you are saying is you would drink prep because you're being promiscuous, right?
Yes.
And then once you're, let's say, married or whatever, then you let go. It's adding to the notion that people think you get HIV because you're being promiscuous. There are a lot of people who are in marriages. Someone could have married you and you were a virgin initially, and boom, Yeah. It's a safety precaution, yes. But it goes back to what I was saying, that when you meet someone or when you're going to engage with someone sexually, treat everyone as if they are positive, because then you become more careful, right? You think of the fact that, possibly I could be on ARVs for the rest of my life, Treat it that way, as opposed to just drinking prep and thinking, now it's a party. No. It's a precautionary measure, but people shouldn't abuse it purely because you think you're in your prime and you're good.
Okay. You want people to take it?
Look, I'm no healthcare professional, but whatever precautionary measures you can take them.
Okay.
Maybe, Linna, had I considered things like that, I wouldn't be in this position.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
We don't know.
All right, it's fine. I'm for prep. Those who know.
Yeah.
Those who know, they are on the streets. those who know they are running, they must take it.
They must keep testing also.
Including bikers.
Guys, bikers are also human. Ne?
Yes.
Let's start there.
And they're human.
They're human beings.
Yes.
And just because it's like saying, okay, DJs must drink prep.
Yes.
Like, you can't assume because I'm a DJ, I'm promiscuous. Yes, I have fans. Yes, people come up to me as
Yes.
a DJ, you know?
Yes.
But it doesn't mean I'm being careless or reckless with my life.
Yes.
Same thing with bikers. Guys, and I don't know why people think like, yo, the worst things happen at these rallies, and it's not like that, guys. We're all individuals, we're human beings. If when you feel or you're single and the opportunity presents itself, go ahead, Namo. But we can't associate everyone with that.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
Okay, let's do this. The biker's lifestyle.
Yeah.
We know the positive lifestyle that you guys do. You go to places and you enjoy going to places, and it's all positive and stuff. During the night, people say you guys get down to some serious stuff, night adult stuff. So tell me, is that true that you guys attend sex parties?
I wouldn't say bikers.
Yes.
One, because you did a podcast, man, with the priest who
Yes.
hosts sex parties.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. It comes down to individuals.
Also, individual people in the biker community can attend this thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, at the end of the day, I take this thing off
And you
and I'm
become
still
Tsulu.
me, you know?
Yeah.
No, even with me wearing it, I'm still Tsulu.
Yes.
It's just that, remember, I'm not going to go and do something stupid, like get into a fight or whatever. Ki apere.
Sure.
Because remember, wherever I am representing whichever flag I am wearing. Do you understand?
Yes.
What people do with their sex lives at night, that is their business. And the sad part is you'll get people ask you, yo, I heard that you went to this massive biker weekend, what. So what happened? I'm like, guys now are sleeping, you know? Like, we can camp and have a bigger stage with performers and whatever, we'll drink. If you feel you want to sleep, you go and sleep. Simple, nothing has to happen. But everyone assumes that, it's like with any guy now. If you had to ask him, or will you allow your girlfriend to go to bike events, most of them will say no. But the people saying no are people who have never been around this space. They don't actually know what goes on. They just have this preconceived notion about, yo, these are bad people. And that's why even with the projects that we do within communities, we are giving back because we care, right? But also, it goes to show you that it's like saying, "Mutho ke tsotsi," right? Utsotsi, fine. But it doesn't mean there's no good in you. Only you know why you do what you do, right? But it doesn't mean everybody's the same. In the same way with bikers, we've got pastors within Bikerville, healthcare workers, ministers. Like, we've got so many things in Bikerville, but nobody talks about the fact that we enjoy the bike lifestyle. They're more concerned about what we do at night. We sleep like you. Huh? Just like you sleep,
Okay.
we also sleep at night.
Okay.
We just sleep far away from home, but we sleep.
Oh, you sleep. Okay,
Yeah.
it's fine. So let's talk about this. So in your outreach and as an activist for the virus people, have you tried being booked at getting gigs at places where promiscuous lifestyle is likely to happen, to go and preach? Do you think you'll be a party pooper if you do that? Do you think a lot of people would find you killing the vibe if you do? We spoke about it previously. So I just want to check with you, what's your feeling about it?
So with events and whatnot, I'm not against it. I would totally do it. But for me, I think maybe because I'm still at a smaller scale with being an activist, I feel it's more impactful right now with people within my circle, because I don't see how I should go and speak at a stadium about something where I can't even reach the people around me. I think it needs to start there first. So it's important for me to change mindset of people in my family, my friends, people in my community first of all, before taking it to that scale. But I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't. I'm so open, I wouldn't. And for me, about being a party pooper, I doubt that would be any of my worries, because like I said, out of 10 people, if one at least appreciates the message, that's all that matters.
Okay. In closing, do you've got anything that you want to say regarding the previous podcast or the work that you are currently doing? And it's funny, the work that you currently do, you don't do it publicly because you speak to people. It's very difficult for people to see the work that you do, because you speak to people in private settings. So I want to understand something. So if someone wants you, because it's like I say, your job is very difficult. It's not like it's lupus or it's cancer. It's stuff where you would have big seminars to talk to people who are suffering. Yours is very difficult. So what is it that you would want people? And like I said, your work is different from Tabiso.
True.
Yes. What is it that you would want to do, and in terms of reaching out, what is it that you would want to say?
So for me, I'm very open. Like, even on all my socials.
Yes.
I respond to DMs, all of that, very open. But for me, I think the main objective right now, and I think I might have mentioned this in the previous podcast, it's more important for me to be a big sister, a friend, in a sense where I can provide support to people who may not have it like I did, I think that matters more than anything, because not everyone has to come out and speak out and say they're positive, but I think just living and being confident and realizing that this is not the end of the world, for me, that's what's most important. That's the most important thing for me.
Okay. All right. Is that all?
And bikers are people.
Okay. Is that all?
This after midnight thing that you guys are talking about, I don't know about. Thank you
all
very
right.
much.
Do you want to answer questions coming from by the way, they say, why are you smoking, and why are you I don't know what you're drinking, but they say, why are you smoking? So are people with HIV not supposed to be smoking?
Okay, first of all, I smoke and I love my wine, and it's not an issue for me because every time I go for my blood work looks great, so I'm fine, thank you.
So meaning smoking, and you're still living a normal life?
Yeah, I live a normal life. Obviously, if you do something excessively, then
it becomes a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see why not.
The same way you live your life, the only difference is you've got a time where you...
Yeah, the only difference is the pill I drink.
And you just
in the
normal
morning, and then life goes on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.